Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is the Fight and Sight podcast. I'm your host, Timmy B, and this is my co-host, Brian BamBam Barberina.
What's up, everybody? And this week, we're talking to Taylor Starling, Killa B for BKFC Knucklemania, and also talking about, is it okay to slap your coach? I don't know. We'll find out.
Hit it!
Hit it! Dang it! Ah!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight and Sight podcast.
Bam Bam, what a thrilling day it is going to be. This podcast I have been waiting for a while because always Knucklemania is one of the best events of the year to watch. And I love it when we can have someone on Knucklemania, and someone who makes it a true Knucklemania is this guest. She last fought in BKFC at BKFC Sturgis, which was probably one of the best events of the year in all of combat sports. And it was headlined by this woman who put on one of the greatest fights of the year, again, across all combat sports. I'm so happy that she's here. I'm so happy that she's back at Knucklemania. And you two have a history where I think she does not like you at all, Bam Bam, but we are going to bring her in. Here is Taylor Killa B Starling.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Look
What a
at
good
you.
introduction. I have to pinch myself every time I get an introduction like that.
Killa B. Look, you are one of the faces of BKFC. BKFC would not be around if it weren't for some of the OGs like you, and now you are finally back. This is only your second Knucklemania, is that right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe I haven't been on another one. I was wondering when I was going to get put back in, and finally, the fifth one, it's going to be in Philly. It's going to be awesome, and, I feel like this is my full circle moment.
Full circle moment. Well, wait a second, because you have been a master of BKFC since it began, right? Knucklemania 1 you were on, and now Knucklemania 5 you are finally back. I will put up the poster here for those only listening on audio. The poster is here. There it is, January 25th, Knucklemania. That's a killer poster, man.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, you versus Bec Rawlings. Before we get into all the nonsense we're going to talk about, what do you got to say about this fight?
Man, I'm excited. Bec is a legend in combat sports. To be honest, I'm not as excited that it's her because I wanted to fight somebody at 115 and get my title shot back. I thought I deserved like an immediate rematch against Britain. But I'm going to have to work my way back to it. But they kind of give me Bec Rawlings, which is a curveball, which she's been loyal to the company. She's been in the game for a long time. I think they were just trying to give her someone who's game to fight and who's going to bring a fight to her. But it's not really exactly what was on my list of who I wanted to fight. But I got to take it as I can, and all respect to Bec, but she's in my way of my title shot again, whether it's a heavier weight or not. Like, I just see her as a roadblock to getting my title shot back.
What weight is this fight at?
It's going to be at 122. Well, it's 121 plus 1.
Okay.
They wanted to go, I think they wanted to be 125. Bec was kind of pushing back on the weight, but I've been training my body to go to 115 now, and I just think, I'm like, you know what? I've been here too, and I've been loyal to the company, so we need to meet somewhere in the middle, and Bec doesn't really like to cut weight, so she's going to have to cut weight just a little bit, but she's got to cut weight.
How do you feel being able to have those extra pounds?
Oh, man, it's awesome, because I'm I have, this baggy outfit. I'm jacked right now, and I'm just, feel so strong and so good, and I've been telling people, my kidneys and shit don't hurt, so it's nice to not have to be cutting so extreme and just be comfortable. I feel like this is my sweet spot. 125, there's just a lot of bigger girls, and then 115, I'm having to kill myself to get to 115. So
yeah.
So that's the thing though, because it is that weird spot where there's the two different weight classes, and if you find yourself right in the middle, but you've been doing really well, you look incredible. I'm telling you, Sturgis, that event, absolutely bonkers. Your walkout was crazy cool. I mean, the whole event was incredible. My whole life growing up, I used to watch wrestling, and I remember was it WCW used to have an event, I think in Sturgis, because it was surrounded by all the motorcycles and all that. And as a kid, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And now as an adult to watch, how did that feel?
Knuckle. I mean, Bare Knuckle at Sturgis? No?
Yeah, Sturgis was one of those things, I didn't even know what it was And then once I heard about it, it was like I couldn't stop seeing it everywhere or hearing about it. And to be there, it was crazy. Like you drive on this straight road in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, like nothing for miles and miles and miles. And then you get there and it's like Mad Max. And there's just like every walk of life everywhere. All the girls with their tops off, but it's like the ones you don't want to see with their tops off, like walking around. And it's just like, it's complete chaos. People had like giant like cesspool, like swimming pools of like pond water, and they're all like in it. Just it was crazy. And then like when I went to walk out, I think there was 16,000 people in attendance. And when I went to walk out, it was awesome. Like the weather was perfect. There was thousands and thousands of people like on top of each other, like holding each other up on top of the buildings, on top of the bars, trucks. Like it was crazy, and everyone there was so nice, and they definitely loved the bare knuckles. So my goal is to definitely get this title shot back, and I want to do it at Sturgis again. I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
crazy. I mean, think about it too, right? I know I don't want to talk too much about the past fight because we got this one coming up, but I just have to say, it honestly, Taylor, it was one of the best things I'd ever seen. And how crazy is it that it was like bare knuckle in Sturgis with all those bikers and stuff like that? All the fighters on the card are these big burly dudes that look like Bam Bam, and then the main event is these two blondies, right?
Like
two
little
blonde
tiny
girl
girls,
females,
yeah.
and you
just
put on
get after
probably.
it.
And
Yeah.
the best fight of the night. You know what I mean? Like it was absolutely insane. So, I mean, it's just such a credit to you. You're at Knucklemania now. You've got Bec Rawlings. You want the title after this. Is there anybody else on your hit list, though? Like there has to be some people that you just don't like the look of and you want to beat up.
I don't. Let me choose my words carefully because this got me into a bunch of shit last time. But there's definitely a couple of the 115ers that I don't really care for, but they're not even worth my time. And I mean that in the most like respectful way. Like my level's up here and they're on this end. Like for instance, there's Crystal Van Wyck, there's Sarah Shell, and like I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but like these girls are just like
Garbage.
they're kind of thinking that they're better than they are. But I would like to fight one of them, but it's not even worth my time. Like I should be only like me and Britain are the only two in that division that make sense. And like Ty Emery is a great fighter, but she's only fought twice, and like I think like I just have this feeling she's gonna end up getting my title shot before I do, and I don't think that that's what should happen. I think she should at least fight me, and then one of us can fight Britain for the title.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of good female talent. I just don't think that they're on the caliber that like me and Britain and like the other females are on. Like we've all been in it a long time and got some good ring time. So I think some of them need a rude awakening. But I don't want to lower my level just to fight one of these girls and beat them up just to get a win. Like
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
This is the most
Absolutely.
respectful way to call people garbage that I've ever heard. You know, Bam Bam, like
Yeah.
I didn't say that. They're gonna
I
come
know.
and they're gonna have their husbands and sisters telling me what a piece of shit I am on social
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
So it's
I
Well,
like,
that's what you
definitely
got-
think we know who the call out's going to be after this
Yeah.
one, though.
oh yeah, Britain.
Yeah.
Britain
Yeah.
knows it's gonna be Britain. That's exactly it. We got to run it back, and like
But
what
the
a
thing,
cool thing. Like it was a cool event, and like we both really showed up and showed out. So it was on both ends. I don't have any disrespect for Britain, but I want to fight her again, and I want that belt.
Yeah.
well, the thing is with BKFC is they're talking about putting on this $25 million tournament or whatever that is.
I heard it's
Right.
15 million.
It's
winnings.
15
15
yeah.
million winning, 25 like is going to be
Total
dispersed throughout
purses.
fights. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Bam Bam signing the contract. He's taking that full extra 10 million. I heard.
Shit, I better be. I'm going there
Everybody-
and smack some dudes around.
Everybody's
Yeah,
fighting
come
for
on.
free except for Bam Bam.
Where's the $15 million female tournament? So
But,
I
okay,
something.
So this is
we were
what
going to ask. Yeah.
But this is what I want to say though, because here's the thing: like you're saying, like, okay, I want to fight Taylor because I want to fight Britain because she's the name, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to build up this women's division a bit, you know, and this is around the world, Bam, because friend of the podcast and possibly our next week's guest, Denise Zamboanga from the Philippines, she just won the 1FC interim title shot. Okay, I've had her on the podcast before. She's a great girl. She wins, but that division over there, there's like 3 people in it, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and they had a Grand Prix 4 years ago, and there were like women from all different countries, and the whole thing was so cool, and you were like rooting for all your different people. But as the years have gone by, they're all gone. And I'm like, well, who's in this division now? Similar a little bit. Again, no disrespect, but to BKFC, it's like we've got Taylor, we've got Britton.
We got Christine, we got Jade.
No, but Jade is 125.
Yeah, but like I feel like what I mean is like within women.
Yes.
That's you can name 5 of us that are like the pioneer OGs, been there, stayed there, good at fighting, actually like worth.
Well, also the ones that have a draw too.
The ones that have a draw, like
all these other ones.
But as 115 is me and Britton. It's me and Britton sitting there at the top. Like there really isn't. I mean, the girls, there's some decent people, but like I said, like you put either any of them against me or Britton, and they're gonna be starched. So
yeah. If you could pick any girl in any MMA organization that you could just bring over just to beat up, just for fun. You know what I mean? Like, because they're like, okay, Taylor, you need to wait for that title.
Yeah, like a super fight. Let's say a super fight.
Yeah, we just need you to beat someone up before the title shot. Who would you like to beat up?
I can't even beat all the girls in the UFC scare the shit out of me. I'm trying to think like 115ers. I don't even know. Oh, Thug Rose. Nick says Thug Rose. Thug Rose.
Oh,
Thug Rose over. She's got the boxing though.
Yeah.
Her boxing, like her last fight, her boxing was solid.
Still, I like that. Taylor B versus Thug Rose. Next fight.
I don't want that.
What?
I don't want that.
Oh my god.
I'd rather bring over someone like.
What about from boxing?
I want to beat up an influencer. Like, give me an
influencer.
Oh, okay. Well, BKFC does this. They like to.
I don't know any of those. I don't know any influencers.
Like, give me like the Elle Brook.
We just spoke to one.
We've already said like Elle Brook before. Give me the Elle Brook. Give me who the hell?
Women, Timmy. Women.
Yeah, women.
Oh.
Elle Brook's a good one. I'm trying to think all the tiny ones that like.
That have never boxed before.
Yeah.
They just open up Pokemon cards. Elle Brook is good. Elle Brook is good. She beat Paige.
Let me call out Kim Kardashian.
There you go.
Kim Kardashian.
What's Kim Kardashian doing?
Yeah, I want the Kardashian money. I want someone who's I'm gonna get paid for.
Yeah, actually, that's not bad. You know, if you find some sort of influencer girl that wants to come in and do it. But I mean, god dang, is there a female girl that would want to do bare knuckle as their first fight? You got to be crazy.
Yeah, most of them don't. That's what I think we all are a little unhinged in this women's division. Fair knuckle.
Well, that said, you're not totally crazy, or at least one person must find you not crazy because you managed to sucker this guy in.
Oh,
look at that.
My bearded man.
Taylor,
he's sitting here in the corner looking at me like, oh
no. Congratulations to you though. You're an engaged woman. Yeah. Congrats. When is the wedding? When is this happening?
We're getting married in Vegas in March, and then we're gonna have a big party in Jersey like a couple days after we go get married in Vegas.
Nice, awesome. Nice. Congratulations.
We're doing Elvis wedding, so we're very excited.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Very cool. Now, you've been on this podcast before. That's why you and I are best friends. But for people listening or watching now, they're like, well, why is Taylor so nice to Bam Bam? She has no clue who this dude is. But you know him, and the story is that you guys used to train together, correct?
Yeah. Bam knew me when I was a little dorky nobody. Like, just trying
getting ready for fights, just like she is now.
Yep, trying to pave the way, find my way somewhere, somehow. And, So
you sure did.
Bam Bam was super, super nice to me. I can't say that, like, always throughout training that everybody's always the nicest or cool, but Bam Bam was really cool to me. And always when I remember there's times I was sparring Bam and I'm tiny, like way tinier than I even am now, and Bam would just like punch the shit out of me. So
come on.
He's someone who made me realize, like, okay, there's like good people, and then there's like the UFC level, and like it was different. Like when he would hit me, I was like, oh, okay, like it's just different, you know. And he wasn't like beating me up. It was just like, damn, there's levels to this shit. Like,
yeah, that is crazy though, because and then when you would hit Bam Bam, I'm sure it's like you're hitting a brick wall, right? Whereas versus when you hit other people. Yeah, unfazed. Yeah, it's crazy. Now there's something that
has nothing to do with like lack of power. She sure would put it on me, that's for sure. Combos.
Oh, yeah. That's how she's got to beat you, Bam. She's not going to outpower you, so she's got to like, right?
Killa B.
That's it. Now, Taylor, there's something I'd like to start as a tradition on this podcast. I'd like all my guests to say their worst memories of Bam Bam.
I don't
So-
know a worst memory.
When did we start that?
We was just right now. What's the worst thing about Bam Bam, Taylor? Is it,
There's nothing the worst thing about Bam Bam, but I have a good story. It's not the worst. It's funny though. It's just like something I always remember was like one time he was down. He was here for camp, like training, and his tire like went flat or blew out or something. So I had like there was no one that could take him to get his tire fixed, and we were and so he's like, "Can you take me to go drop my car off to get the tire fixed?" And I did, and Old Town Road was playing by Lil Nas X in my car,
Love that song.
and he was just like singing at the top of his lungs,
baby.
and I'm just like driving Bam to like come get his tire. He was just singing. He's like, "I love this song," and like it was. I just remember that, and like it was like such a core memory.
There you go.
I got
Bam
quite
Bam.
a singing voice. I mean, if you got it, flaunt it.
That's what you got to do, man. Taylor, so here's the thing. We just found out that Bellator, they just announced it today. I don't know if you saw the news. I've been kind of predicting, or I think everybody's been predicting this forever. That Bellator was going to fold, right? That it's just they're just not doing anything with it. Do you have anybody at your gym that's been talking about that? Have you had anybody that's like talking about the drama going on there?
No, but my fiance, one of his best friends is Corey Anderson, and he was supposed to fight Nimkov. He was supposed to fight Nimkov, and Nimkov pulled out. Yeah, ducked. If it walks,
he's been
like
getting
a duck,
ducked.
walks like a duck, it's ducking.
Yeah.
So we were really like not pumped, but we were wanting him to fight Nimkov again because they need the trilogy, but Nimkov is a pussy, so that's what happened. But now it's like now for us as friends, like we're like, what's gonna happen for Corey? Like Bellator's folding, and now it's PFL. Like, how is this gonna work out for him? And he's someone who has not, I don't want to say a limited amount of time, but like he's got just a couple more fights left in him, I think, and like we want him to go out on top. And what does this mean for him? Someone like that can't be shelved and be sitting and waiting. Like, he's the champ. What is that? That's really disheartening,
I actually just seen, like right before we got on, was on Instagram, seen him post that his wife like come in and said, "Hey, Bellator is no longer a thing," and that's how he found out. Was his wife seen it, mentioned it to him, and he's like, "What are we gonna do now?" And it's like, man, that's him, like crazy. And like you said, yeah, he's a champ. He's a high level fighter. I'm not sure how old he is, but I know he is, towards the other side, like not skill wise. Obviously, his skill's still there, but time in fighting is a limited thing. So
yeah,
it's not going to be forever. And obviously, he wants to take advantage of this time that he has to still put on good fights. So hopefully he can get with an organization quick. I don't know what's the deal with PFL. It's a shame. He said he hasn't really, from what I've heard, he hasn't talked to him. Actually, I just talked to Timmy B because I know Corey pretty good, and so I messaged him and was like, "Hey man, you want to come on the podcast?" So just been talking to him too, but it's a shame, all of it, and this guy ducking him constantly, and now the dude booked another fight instead. Pretty whack.
Yeah, it's really messed up, and Corey's such a good guy, so it sucks. It's really hard, but dude, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. And then how like PFL like went from doing these $1 million tournaments to now it's 500,000. I'd be like,
yeah,
500,000. You guys should have started with that, and then
exactly.
You guys should have bumped it up later on.
Well, it's bad. I mean, it's bad news, but okay. First thing off, tell Corey Anderson to get on this podcast, because especially now with this newer news, right? Like, we can talk to him about something else. They did say, I don't even know where the news came from. Did the news just come from Ariel Helwani? Like, did they release an official thing?
I saw something too, not from Ariel Helwani, so.
But everyone just picks it up from the last guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I feel like what they've been saying is everything we've been talking about, Bam, the last few weeks, which is like the Bellator branding just slowly went away.
Yeah.
And
they kind of like tried to sneak in the bushes, like.
Yeah, like
yeah.
Homer Simpson style.
Yeah.
Like,
it's still gonna be here. Woo.
Yeah, no one's gonna notice.
But then someone said like that they're gonna have champions, because like right now they don't have champions, right? They have their season winners, but they don't have like belted champions. But they're saying now that like they're gonna have champions. So I don't know. Maybe Corey Anderson is just gonna get a PFL belt in the mail, and he'll be their light heavyweight champion, right? Because wouldn't you let this guy be the champion if he's holding the
Move
Bellator
over to
title that you're
PFL,
essentially
for sure.
like changing,
or
it
at
with?
least give him a fight to fight for it.
Yeah,
send
a
me
title
paycheck.
fight.
Like, send me one fat ass paycheck, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it was fun. I'm out. That's what I
See you later.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, I wish him the best, man, and I wish all the Bellator people the best, because I mean it's just a crazy deal, you know.
Bad, really.
Yeah. Now, Taylor, we don't want to keep you too long. Obviously, like you're just a week and a little bit out.
Yeah.
So everything feeling good. I mean, you're looking good. You say that you're super shredded and jacked under this hoodie. Feeling good. Gonna kick ass. No
Yes.
question, right?
No questions asked. That's 100%. I've changed a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, I had a conditioning coach that I didn't get to work with the entire time before I fought Jenny Savage. And then finally when I fought Britain, I got him the whole camp. But then when I fought Britain, I had added a boxing coach that I didn't get to work with the whole time until like right at the very end with Britain. But in the short time, I felt like he made my performance with Britain what it was. And now this time I had full conditioning coach, full boxing coach, full time at Modern Warrior. So I've had all the tools and have worked really, really hard for this. And I think Bec is going to be really surprised. I mean, if Britain can beat her, like, I already know that if I fought Taylor that fought in Sturgis, I would knock that Taylor out. So it's like,
Nice.
It's crazy how much I've just, like, have developed and grown and all of the different things I'm learning and how much better I've gotten. Like, I can move. Like everyone knows me as just standing there and brawling. And, like, now I can brawl if I want to, but I can also brawl and be in and out and behind your back before you even notice it. So I'm really excited for everybody to see like what I've worked on and it all come together, because I'm not just a brawler now. It's gonna be awesome. I think she's gonna be shocked.
I can't wait. I'm so excited for it. How's the walkout? Like, how I wanted to ask this.
Is it all planned?
Like how far in
Yeah.
advance do you plan this? Like the outfit, the whole spiel, like because it's a real production.
Yeah, it's so fun. Like, I always like think of like, okay, this is where I'm fighting. This is who's gonna be there. This is what the crowd's gonna be like. This is what I gotta do. I'm pulling up with so much Eagles gear in Philly, and I have like my weigh-in is like all Eagles themed. It's gonna be sick. It's gonna really appease the people. And then my
Smart.
walkout, like, I don't know. Usually I walk out to some rap, but like I walked out to Metallica and Sturgis because I was like, oh yeah, like
That's
we
the
gotta
crowd.
do Metallica. And then this time in Philly, like it's a song that'll get people hyped, but it's not rap. It's just like, but I know people are gonna be like, like this is good. So yeah, I got it planned out.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And of course, like aside from the physical preparation, of course, one of the big things with any fighter is the mental preparation. And so, of course, now being the newly fiancéed Killa B, mentally you have to be like just at a whole new level. No, I would assume.
Yeah. It's crazy when you have a chaotic life, or like I've had a pretty chaotic life, and now I have someone who balances me out and who supports me and treats me really good. I'm just so happy and so content in life that like it's like, wow, like all these pieces come together, and like I don't have any mental blocks or issues because everything around me is so good. It's I can't even find a reason to feel like that. And like I have a sports psychologist, and I didn't really talk to her the whole camp, and I talked to her today, and I'm talking to her and I'm like, I wish I had more to talk to you about, but I don't. Like I feel so good. And she's given me a lot of tools to use too, but I really was like, you know what? Like, I know that we're on the phone, but like, I just feel good. That's it. Like, I feel great. I'm confident. I'm ready. So yeah, life's good, and it transitions everything else into being good. So good energy.
That's awesome. I really appreciate it. Taylor, thank you so much for always
Great.
being such a cool friend of the podcast too. Like the first time we had you on, you're absolutely incredible. And then this time as well, like so happy to talk with you and so soon out from your fight too. So like, I appreciate this so much.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait to watch this thing.
You're the only person who called me for a podcast. So let's go.
Wait, is
I'm
that
like,
why
you
you're
know,
saying you
I,
said
I,
yes? I don't care if 100 people called you. You go, no. Fight in sight is the one to
yeah,
do.
you were
Yeah.
the first one and the only one. Now,
There we go.
this is when everyone's gonna come out of the woodworks and want me on their podcast, like right at the week before. But I was more than happy to talk to you, and you guys are so supportive, so it means a lot.
Thank you so
Looking
much.
forward to the fight.
I have two more. I have two more quick questions to ask you though. One, do you feel like BKFC doesn't get a lot of publicity and stuff? Like I don't know, like because you're the huge face of it. I would think that there'd be places all over the place trying to get a hold of you because they'd want to promote the event.
Interviews, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, just
You know, they actually, I will say this, like they do have some PR people that try to like really push for me to like
Hook you
do
up.
stuff and do little gigs. Like they're trying to get me like on some news and radio stuff.
yeah.
So they try, but I feel like I feel like back in the day when I first fought Knucklemania, it was like everybody was calling me, everyone on a podcast, everyone on that. I feel like it's kind of calmed down, which is fine by me because I'm like, some of these people are insane, but yeah, like they do their best to like get their own stuff out a certain way. But as far as like, I just don't get as many random messages and inbox DMs for podcasts and stuff like that, which is, like I said, fine by me.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, I appreciate it, man. And I appreciate that you even pay attention at all to even answer the message. So thank you so much. But last question I want to ask you, and I think I asked you this last time, but of course I've got to ask it again. It's a question that my mom used to ask me almost every day of my life growing up. So I want to ask it to you again on a scale of 1 to 10. Taylor Killer B Starling, how happy are you?
I am 500,000 million, 50% happy. I'm the happiest girl. If I'm so happy I could die. It's like, it's insane and it's genuine and it's real and it's the best. Like it's the best feeling that like every day I'm so blessed to like if something inconveniences me, it's like water off a duck's back. So
nice. And then there's people listening to the podcast. There's people.
Yeah.
There's people listening to the podcast. There's people that watch you or that really look up to you. If they are not 500 million billion%, what is something that you would say to them to inspire them to be happier in life?
Without trying to be like so like I feel like the best thing you can do is look around you, evaluate the people that you're around, what you're putting yourself in front of, the kind of stuff that you're taking in, listening to, what are you eating, what are you drinking, who is in your circle. I feel like the reason I am so happy is I'm a reflection of the people around me, and you got to put yourself in good situations around good people who want the best for you, and if they don't want the best for you, fuck them, kick them to the curb.
Yeah.
But yeah, good people, gotta surround yourself with good people who genuinely care about you, and if you're not in a circle of good people, then it ain't it, man.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And one quick thing I want to ask you, a few people wrote in questions, so I feel bad if I don't get to a couple of them.
Yeah,
really quick,
fine.
you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Really, really quick. I'm sorry. I've remembered now because I don't do this for everybody. I don't always ask for fan questions, but when it came to you, I'm like, well, I know people always want to ask Taylor stuff. So just really quick on the answers here. If you could talk to your younger self at the start of your career, what advice would you give?
The same thing I tell everybody now: don't give up. It's crazy because I always believed in myself more than like at the times than other people did, and I saw something bigger for myself. I would just tell myself, don't give up, just keep doing what you're doing, it's all gonna pay off. And that's always my biggest thing. When people ask me for advice, I always say never give up. Like shit might get rough or life might throw curveballs at you, but if you keep pushing, the universe loves a stubborn ass bitch, so you gotta keep going.
I swear to God, every question you ask Taylor, she comes out with like a TED Talk answer. This is what happened last time too. It's like I never know when to end the podcast.
Hey, that was fire though.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, last one I'll ask you. What's the one thing you hope fans take away from your journey as a boxer?
Ooh, gosh, that makes me want to cry. I'm such a woman. If my fans could take anything from me, is I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. I always want people to know, like I said, never give up. If I can do it, you can do it. I got 2 kids. I have their baby daddy drama that I have to deal with their dad. I have to get to and from school, early mornings, late nights, teaching class at the gym. I'm always trying to pay my bills, do everything right by everybody, and work hard. So I always say, if there's a will, there's a way. And if I can do it, you can do it, and you can do it 10 times better. So You know, I just want people to know that, like, if I can do all the things that I'm doing, which I'm a maniac and I'm insane and I love my schedule, but if I can do it, you can do it, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be fighting, but if I can do anything, these people can do anything. So I just want people to know, like, it don't matter if you're a mom, if you're overweight, if you're whatever, you can get shit done. If you want it, you can go get it. You just got to work hard and be nice to people, and you can have whatever you want.
Yeah.
See, there's another TED Talk, man.
There you go.
I told you, like every
Great.
time.
Great though. Great answer.
You know, there's one thing that one person cannot do, and that is Thug Rose cannot come and beat you in your backyard. Killa B
I would be scared of hell of her. I'm not gonna lie.
Stop it. I got to edit that part out. Killa B, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. I can't wait to talk to you another time. But until then, enjoy this fight. Enjoy the win. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy Knucklemania. Enjoy getting married.
Yeah.
Enjoy Vegas. Enjoy the New Jersey. All those things that are there coming to you. Like, I can't wait and so excited for you. And make sure you tell Corey Anderson to get in the Fight and Sight podcast.
It was great talking with you.
Text him.
Yep, great talking with you. Congratulations.
Bye, man. Bye, guys. I really appreciate it.
Bam Bam, that is your old good
Killa
friend,
B.
your training partner that you
Old
used to
training partner,
beat
yeah.
up. That you used to beat up. How dare you?
It wasn't. No, I didn't beat up anybody.
You don't recall beating her up?
No.
That's because you probably beat up. That's because you probably beat up so many people. It's like just a.
Yeah, I forgot.
You know, yeah. It's like, another one. You know, it is funny though, because when I started training, I forget if I told you this, but when I started training, I didn't know that my coach was a UFC fighter because he looked so different.
Yeah. People tell me that all the time.
Like, he had a beard and like whatever, but he, like, even facially he looked different. So I didn't realize it was who he was. And I think probably before I knew that, but especially after I realized he was a UFC fighter, you really knows the difference. And the one thing was, like, you know, you could be sparring with another guy and, you know, you take a few shots, or you give a few shots, you land a few things, but against him, it was like I was hitting a brick wall. Like, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with it? Like, why is he so strong? And like, it was crazy, dude. It's a total different. It's like a different animal when you're a high level athlete, my friend.
Yeah, I guess. I don't feel any different. I guess I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I learn something from everybody, no matter what level they are. If they're their first day in the class, you know, I feel like I can learn something from anybody. So,
sure, but that's because you're a nice guy, and you know, if I ask your former sparring people, they'd probably say something
like that. Say I beat him up.
Yeah, what a jerk. Friends of the podcast update, Bam, I do want to say thank you to Rageworks Podcast Network. Of course, you can listen to our podcast there on audio, but you can check out many great audio podcasts. Go to rageworksnetwork.com. Make sure that you check out Fight League Atlantic, FLA 18, February 1st in the Moncton Coliseum. Go to fightleagueatlantic.com to get your tickets. Bam, last week we had Mr. Mean Devin Turner on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
I know he's been so excited, man, and that dude is working hard. And then I've been looking at the card top to bottom, and the fights look absolutely insane. There's a few fighters coming in from Mexico. There's a few fighters coming in from West Coast Canada. So it's going to be a very international card. I'm very excited about like all the different fights. And go check it out. FightLeagueAtlantic.com. I will be there. I don't know what I'm doing for sure, but I will be there for sure. I will definitely, probably, maybe host the weigh-ins. Maybe, hopefully, possibly commentate. We'll see what's happening, but I'm going to be there for sure. Moncton Coliseum, don't miss it. And then, like I said, while we were talking to Killa B, Denise Zamboanga captures the interim atomweight championship. I haven't had her in the podcast in like 4 years. She was like she was my first 1FC athlete on the podcast.
Okay, nice.
First
Be good
ever.
to get her back on, right?
Yeah, well, we've been talking. We were supposed to have her on before, because remember we were trying to book it. We were scheduling it up. Right after she wins, I think it must have been like within 6 hours of her winning the title. She messaged me and says, "Let's get on the podcast." So
that's awesome.
I just gotta book it and figure it out. First ever female Filipino champion. I think that's what it is. And she's the interim champion. She's gonna fight Stamp Fairtex in her unification belt because Stamp was injured.
Okay.
So. I mean, that's a huge fight, man. You know Stamp Fairtex? Do you know who that is?
Sounds really familiar. I'm sure I've seen
insane,
it. Yeah.
Dude. Like one of the greatest female fighters on the planet, any division, any weight class. She's like a Muay Thai superstar, but then she becomes like a MMA fighter, and she's fantastic. Her and Denise actually former training partners. And former friends, but they now are going to fight, and
at least it's for the belt, right?
Yeah, for the belt. And unlike stupid Aljamain and Merab, like they're saying, no, we're the top two, we're going to fight each other, so let's do it. So that's going to be crazy.
Me and my buddy always said, like, if it's for the belt, we're fighting. It don't matter.
Yeah, man. Like you got to do what you.
No matter what happens, if it's for the belt, we're fighting. Yeah, and we're trying to kill each other.
yeah. The other thing I'll say is like what's coming up next on the podcast, like for guests. So Denise Zamboanga, hopefully she will come on. Corey Anderson, get the goddamn on this podcast because with this
Let's
news,
go, Corey, come on.
Yeah, because with this news,
keeping us on hold here.
Yeah, with this news now, with Bellator being 100% gone, and you want to know what really pisses me off, man, is that last week. This is why sometimes I don't like maybe having two guests on the show because I don't get to like the news stuff as much. Yeah. You know, I try to like throw it in with the interview to kind of like be able to at least talk about some things like we did with Killa B there, or with me and Devin Turner. We talked about the Instagram growth, right?
Yeah.
I swear to God, dude, I forget if I said on last week's podcast, but I was all lined up with all my Bellator is gone stuff because their branding was gone off the February card. I think we did talk about the fact that there's the February card, but nothing else. Like a manager was speaking to me. I forget. I talked to so many people, but a manager had told me like, dude, there's no Bellator cards. Like my fighters that are represented by Bellator or that are assigned to Bellator, they have no fights and there's no cards. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So like you can see the writing on the wall.
Not only Corey Anderson, all these fighters in Bellator who, dude, he obviously had no idea. Like it was just all of a sudden going to be gone. That's what happens. Yeah, normally you hear like, okay, hey, we're going to be transitioning you over to PFL, whatever, so on and so forth. Now you got to think, what happens to those fighters?
Yes, to the sex of their choosing. But I think they already kind of knew, right? Like, remember when Bellator got bought by PFL. There was already all the drama with all the fighters not knowing what's going on. That's why you had a bunch of fighters that jumped ship once they were allowed to, or once they got released, once they asked to be released. The rest of them kind of knew, like, okay, I'm in Bellator, but it's owned by PFL. I can do whatever. Like, you kind of knew. So I don't think anything changes. That's what I think is a little bit confusing for people. Now that Bellator is gone, it's just the brand name is gone. Those contracts all are still under PFL. Like you're not.
Well, I understand that. Like you're not free to go. But do they end up just letting them go? Do they just hold on to? Do they hold on to them, not fight them?
That's what they're. What do you mean? That's what they're doing to all these guys. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, I know. But if they continue now that Bellator doesn't have any fight cards,
I don't. Yeah, I don't think this means anything. I think this just means, hey, we're just letting everybody know for sure there is no Bellator anymore. Like. I don't think this does anything
to continue on with like regular fight cards on top of their tournament stuff, not just their tournament stuff.
No, but that's what they're saying. They're going. Yeah. But the news is that's what they're going to do. They're going to do this. What is it called? Road to Dubai.
Yeah.
And then instead of Champion Series, which was the Bellator thing, it was Bellator Champion Series, but now it's PFL Champion Series : Road to Dubai, which the Road to Dubai leads where? Like why do we care about Road to Dubai? What does that even mean? I don't understand it, but I don't know. You want to talk more crap about Bellator? There's this that I thought was really weird. Like this was really weird, man. Oh, okay. Well, there's one other thing, but quickly hold on. Here's my picture of boom, FLA 18.
Nice.
Make sure you go get it. I want to make sure I get that up there. All right. This here was.
This is the owner of PFL, right?
Yeah. Now this I sent to you this, and for people only on audio, I'm putting up a picture of Donn Davis, who's the founder and chairman of PFL. This was on his LinkedIn. Okay. So bam, this is how much I try to get good guests. Okay. Like I friend people on LinkedIn to try and get them to come over to the podcast because, maybe the thing. But anyways, this is the weirdest post ever, Bam. Because when you think about how PFL is not doing well, we covered their social media gains last week, and like we all know, right?
Yeah.
Here's what Don Davis says, and I feel like this, to me, there's no accountability, no self-reflection of like, what did we do wrong? Because he says, building my company has many issues and setbacks. 5 hard things that happened to PFL in 2024. Number 1, several potential new investors wasted huge amounts of our precious time, but we found the right ones. So he's saying he wasted time with potential investors. That's what you freaking do, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
you got to test it, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're
like
not going to
that's
know
what
off the
happens.
bat if it's going to, you hope it's going to be good, you know?
That's the,
I don't
mean,
know.
that,
I mean,
like,
I have
I
like,
wasted time. Of course, I waste time all the time. I message. I don't know. What's my ratio? Probably like 20-1. I'll probably message like maybe 20 fighters and get one on.
really?
You know? I think so. That's why I'm hoping you help me out with that. I don't know.
I
Like,
messaged one and he's kind of not yet. We're not there yet, but we're almost, I think. But I could
no,
get
yeah.
some more, but it's kind of like, well, where are we at? What do we want to talk about, at the time?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's always about people that, but I'm about 20-1. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, but if you're an investor if you're a business and you're talking to investors, of course you're going to spend a lot of time schmoozing and trying to figure it out before they jump on board. So how is that a reason for your problems? Number 2, big new advertiser agreed to deal and was in final contract, but new management stopped the deal.
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay, normal. I don't
back up, maybe. I don't know.
Like,
it's
but
hard.
Is that
like I mean, I know, being an entrepreneur myself. I mean, you're gonna have setbacks. There's gonna be setbacks. You just kind of gotta roll with the punches, and do the best you can, and kind of be upfront with people, really. And that's what I think has been, the biggest issue, really, is just being upfront with,
I just don't get, And I mean, we don't have to go through each one, but okay. Number 3, some Bellator star fighters complained on social media about not fighting, but PFL makes best overall decisions considering all our fighters. That's a 100% lie. We are growing so fast with our international leagues that costs in some regions are too high, and then major new initiative and expansion is delayed a year by one of our partners through no fault of PFL. Like all entrepreneurial companies, we face issues, blah, blah, blah. Your top 5 things don't at all point to anything I've done wrong or anything that I can learn from. Like, if I'm an investor in PFL, I'm looking at that post and going, so wait a second, we're freaking bombing here. Like, we're having troubles. We're not recouping money. We're not doing well. Francis Ngannou sold 10,000 pay-per-views. And your top 5 mistakes, none of them are because of you. None of them.
Yeah.
You're saying I could do better. Here's what because essentially you've just blamed 5 other people or 5 other things. That's very weird to me, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You gotta take accountability for, some of it at least.
Got to take accountability, and you have to. And how are you learning from those 5 things? That's the thing. Like, if you're just saying, oh, that guy wasted my time, this guy bailed out, this guy, blah, 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 shouldn't you be saying, I should have had backups for this, I should have been planning well, I should have managed my time better? You can still say those things, but how are you going to improve? Life lesson from Timmy B. You know what I mean? Like, figure shit out and right? Figure it out, man. That's kind of a slap in the face to the investors, but a real slap in the face, Bam Bam, is what happened just this past week at UFC, the first event in a month. Victoria Dudakova slapped her coach in the face at the end of the fight. Did you see that?
I saw clips. Actually, I happened to just, I did watch most of the card. I missed the early on fights. Had something going on, so I actually missed it, but seen the clips of it. So I didn't know. Did that fight go to a decision?
No. She got finished. No, she gets finished in the second round gets finished in the second round by former guest of the podcast, Fatima Klein, So I'm so happy for her because we had her on before she made her UFC debut, which ended up being on short notice, a weight class up.
Yeah.
She lost, but she did very well. But this is the thing, Bam. This is why I always say to fighters, don't take freaking Contender Series. Because if you lose on Contender Series, I'm so worried you will never make it to the big show. But if you take a short notice fight and you lose,
well, yeah, you already got a contract for.
You've already got a contract, and
fights.
and so unless you did really badly, they'll probably give you that next fight. And so that's, to me, way better, man.
Yeah, I just think what's hard about that is, the likelihood of getting the short notice with all these other fighters that are right there on the short notice call. So it's really on like which manager or fighter is out there really pushing more, getting to them faster, knowing some. And usually it happens to where like the fighter that fell out, their management team has the guy, has the guy to fill in. That happens a lot because they're the first ones to know, that like, hey, this guy, our guy's got to go out. We have this guy to fill in, and whether he's, ready to get on the Contender Series or, it's like, okay. But I have noticed that they are taking a lot of people off from the Contender Series and get them these short notice fights if they're ready. So that's one thing I will say about the Contender Series is, if you go out there, you put on a good fight, you still don't get the contract. I feel like some of these guys are getting called to take on these short notice fights.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that because obviously another friend of the podcast, someone that I've had on, is the manager or the owner of Sucker Punch Entertainment, one of the biggest management companies in all of combat sports, Brian Butler. He just posted a story today where he was doing a video call with a guy saying, you've got your UFC shot this weekend at UFC 311. So like, that's like where you're right. If you have the right manager, they're going to be connected and be able to get you that thing. But again, that's all part of your building your brand. Bam. That's why. And we didn't talk about it with me and Devin Turner, but if he's watching now, dude, get on your Instagram, start promoting. And for all the amateur fighters, right? You got to build your presence, build everything up, and then make those right connections, because that's how you're going to get these opportunities.
Yeah. And for Devin, like what we talked about with him is like, if you got video of you, and you going with the crowd and everything like that, definitely get those videos out there, man. Let people see it. And, there'll be haters, there'll be lovers, but you got to get it out there. That's good publicity right there.
Yeah, for sure. So anyways, okay, so this Dudakova girl, I just want to cover this story before we let it go. The Dudakova, she loses in the second round, gets TKO'd, stoppage. As it gets to, it's because it's on Fight Pass, I think.
Okay.
We kind of get like a lot of images where like there's no commentary. I don't know, maybe in the States they're in a commercial break, but for me watching on Fight Pass, you're just kind of seeing the camera kind of like look around,
Yeah.
And so what happens is you see Dudakova and her one cornerman is kind of touching her up, right? Like taking the blood off and whatever. The other coach comes and she looks at him and she's angry and pat. Slaps him in the face. You kind of see it from behind, but definitely it seems like it's a slap.
It's the backside too, like of the guy. So I wonder if he like walks up and says something and then she's just already pissed.
Right. So here's the thing. The internet, as they are with stupid people, they start going off going, Dudakova slaps coach, Dudakova slaps coach. And I'm like, well, is it her coach? Like, is it just a cornerman? Is it a teammate? Is it her friend? Is it her lover? Like, who is this? Because I don't think we know. And they just say coach, coach, coach.
Yeah.
So right away, I'm like, whoa. We need to know more of the story.
Yeah,
because then they're like, oh, she should get let go from her team or whatever. I'm like, well, first of all, you don't know that it's her coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, and this is the question for you, veteran of the UFC, Bam Bam. In that moment, during the UFC fight, aren't you the boss? Like, you're paying your coach to be there to be your cornerman or to be your coach. Aren't you kind of the boss in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you're definitely taking like advice from them, and hoping like you brought them along. Like, yes, you're paying them, but you're also like, with that, it's like, you want the best advice possible to put you in a position to be victorious or whatever. Obviously, things happen and things go wrong. But yeah, it's.
But you're the boss.
In the end, you're the boss. right? Yeah.
So
you're the boss.
So am I crazy to think that like the power dynamic in that moment, it's not coach and student there though, right? Like,
I mean, yes, I think it still falls under that, but also at the same time, it's like, like you said, we don't know. They're just saying coach and student. We don't know if that's
yeah.
whatever. It could have been her boyfriend, could have been a training partner, whatever. And maybe they came up and said the wrong thing. And in a moment like that, you just been finished, or whatever. Sometimes it's hard to control your emotions. And
have you ever slapped your coach?
No.
Have you ever?
I've never slapped a training partner, a coach, anybody. I'm not big on slapping. It's a huge disrespectful thing to me. Slapping somebody is like, maybe, I guess, if I really wanted to disrespect somebody, I'd slap them. But in that case, I'd probably just punch them. So, but for me, like if someone slapped me, it's a huge disrespectful thing to me. Like,
yeah, I mean, not only that, but in public, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
right? That's another thing too. Okay, so your
I don't
boy
think
Timmy,
it's okay to slap your coach. I don't care.
Or training part. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Don't slap your coach. Don't slap your training partner. Don't slap anybody in your corner in that moment. You shouldn't be slapping. Obviously.
Well, yeah, I would assume not. They shouldn't be because you brought them there for a reason. And that reason, you trusted them. You believed in them that they were going to guide you in the right direction. You believed they were there for the best of you. But at the same time, maybe they weren't. Maybe you thought you weren't, but they helped you through camp. Whatever it is, you brought them in the end. So
there's a bit of onus on you, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So your boy Timmy B goes and does his investigation. Okay, because nobody else is going to figure this crap out.
Get him. Yeah.
All right. So
what do we find out?
I'm going to show you 4 different photos. The first 2 photos are still images from their walkout at that fight, because I was like, let me see if I can see anything between these two where they are not happy with one another. Okay.
Detective Timmy.
So the answer is no. They look fine together. He's smiling. They hug. No problem between these two people, for sure.
Yeah.
Then there's a photo in the bottom left I'm going to show you. I think they're dating. I feel like maybe they're boyfriend, girlfriend. Okay. Then I'm going to show you a photo on the bottom right, which is from a fight 4 years ago. He's her coach there too. I went and watched that fight, some Russian underground league. So this guy, A, has been in her life a long time, at least 4 years, has been in her corner a while, definitely showed positive vibes during this fight. And then it does seem like they might be dating. Okay. So there's the photos, right?
Yeah.
Then I try to figure.
That's the dude, for sure.
That's the, like I'm like
the corner, in the corner pictures, like her hugging him and stuff. That's the dude that walks up and she slaps.
Yeah. What are you saying? Is the guy in the top left the same as the guy bottom left?
No, I know he is, but I'm saying like out of the 3 corners she had.
Yeah. Because her 2 corner men are both wearing black jackets.
Got it.
And it's the guy, and the only guy wearing the white shirt is him. And I'm just literally watching it again on Fight Pass now. Yeah, that's him, man. And she's like, because you don't see his front, but you definitely know that's him. And he gets slapped.
It's tough.
Her other 2 corners.
You don't know their relationship. Obviously, they look close. They look like they've been together for a while. They look, maybe they have some physical, connection.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the feeling was in that moment. Maybe obviously she was upset over the loss.
Yeah.
We can't see. We don't know if he came up and said the wrong thing. Emotions are high.
Yeah.
The fact being that they are, like I said, I don't think it's good to slap anybody at any time, but it happens, and there's reasons for it or whatever. Emotions run high, and because I think they're so intimate, if they seem to be. From the looks of it, intimate, and even if he is her coach, that I think it brings up different circumstances for sure. But it's like you can't be like, oh, kick her out of the gym. She slapped the coach. It's like,
so Wait, so you're saying that because you saw those were the comments, right?
Yeah, those are the
Is that what
comments.
you're saying? Yeah. So
But it's like,
because those are the comments you see. They're like, oh, this chick needs to be kicked out of that gym. No way does that chick blah blah. And I'm like, you don't know the relationship here. Also, she is Russian, and I don't know culturally.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Russian too. Yeah. So
they're a tougher thing. So I did find out. I think this is him. This is his Instagram profile here. This is Sambo.
Like him.
No, it is. No. It is Sambo_34. I think that's who he is. But here it says senior coach of the Russian national MMA champion M1 selection Europe, the winner of M1 fighter season. This guy has been around, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to translate his name because it's there written in Russian, and I couldn't figure out
Who knows? Maybe he said, you know what? Just slap me. You know, it was my fault. Slap me. And she's just like, boom. Yeah. You don't.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
know.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
So
you don't. Yeah. You don't know, and you don't know the relationship, and you don't know whatever. But I was just like, again, stupid social media and people that have no freaking time to like research anything. They just immediately were bashing this chick.
Yeah, he didn't react.
No, he's been slapped by bears, dude. That guy.
They didn't even face him.
Yeah,
he was like, "What the dang fly? What the heck?"
Yeah. But anyways, like that's And
gets back to the social media picking up and running things just because,
And then I feel bad too, though, because the story goes off, right? And the way we live in today's world, that news cycle is going to go. And the next time you see her, you're going to go, oh, that's that chick coach. What a bitch, blah, blah, blah. Right. But you don't know, like you got to let people figure out their shit, in the story. So I feel like whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Can I just say one funny thing that's happening as we're recording this?
Yes, please.
Kelsey DeSantis, one of my favorite people in the world. She's the girl that fought Clarissa Shields at PFL and spilled the beans on all the drama at PFL. She just messages me with another person in the chat. Like she's created a group chat. And it says, I'm happy to connect you both. This is my friend. She is connected with Corey Anderson and mentioned it would be good to have him on and cover the news about Bellator being disbanded, seeing as Fight Insight podcast is the only one who covers how the majority of fighters outside of the favorites are treated.
Boom. I like that. Here we go. Get it. I give that credit to you, Timmy. I don't get no credit for that, but
First of all, I love Kelsey DeSantis because she is so real, man. I'm gonna get this wrong. She's a veteran, a Marine veteran, super high level in the Army, in the Marine Corps, in the Marine, super high level in there, and she's a fighter and she's a badass and she's just so cool as shit. And I'm so glad that we became friends. But if this connection works out, then maybe next week we got Corey Anderson. So I will follow up on this.
Gosh, not coming through. I'm failing you, Timmy.
That's fine. You're gonna need to get the next person. Here's someone that might be coming on the podcast soon. UFC 311 is this week. Ricky Tercios. I've had him on the podcast before. If he wins his fight, he's coming on the podcast. We talk all the time. He's coming on the podcast if he wins his fight. So
when he wins,
bet on Ricky Tercios. He's coming on for sure. Yeah, man. Like lots of good stuff to talk about. Bam. Lots of good drama going on, man. Like crazy stuff. But yeah,
sadly, it's at the
expense of
the fighters and stuff.
Well, hopefully not, though, right? Like, I mean, look, the other way to look at it, Corey Anderson, is that you're the champion of Bellator. You obviously now become the lineal champion of PFL, or at the very least, will be fighting in the first title, or will be fighting in the very first title fight, right?
Yeah.
And if PFL now gets their shit together and says, okay, shit, this is what we're going to do, maybe this opens up the doors for everybody. Maybe this now gets things going. Like, figure stuff out, get the divisions in order, figure out your rankings, figure out whatever, and give these people fights. That's all we need, right?
Yeah.
I was also talking to former guest of the podcast, Ashley Whiplash Steiner. She's a girl that made her Bellator debut just last year. But then after that, you're just sitting there going, okay, well, now what? Like, there's no other card.
Yeah.
So hopefully that kickstarts things for her, right? Hopefully it kicks. So yes, it's kind of negative, but lights at the end of all these tunnels, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I actually fought with a girl just now on Instagram because she was saying she was saying, okay, this is last thing, Bam. Are you okay on time? You're okay?
Yeah.
This is last thing. She said that she was like, okay, essentially this girl was saying, oh, Bellator's gone, good. None of these organizations can compete with UFC. You got to stop. This is nonsense, blah, blah, blah. So I said, no, what we need are more. I said, no, you need more promotions to help grow the sport and give fighters a place to earn a living. What we need is fans and businesses to support these organizations from the ground up. Get out there and support. The problem is that the heads of these companies aren't making the right decisions. That's the bottom line. You know, seasons with no elbows isn't what the doctor ordered. Champions Series events with no titles on the line aren't what we deserve. Divisions with no rankings and no promotion of their fighters isn't what we need. Like, it's so stupid that there's people online that are going to go like, yeah, we just got to get rid of these stupid things and only have UFC.
Yeah.
Well, you idiot. If you only have UFC, like, who can compete?
Still, I mean, even for the people in UFC who, you know, obviously I'm a big UFC fan, you know, great organization, the best organization, honestly.
Sure.
But having other organizations and other options out there, not, you know, help the fighters make more money, you know, and really, like, when it comes time to negotiate and stuff like that too for a new contract, it's like, if you have another option, we're like, well, hey, you know, these guys are coming up, you know, they're getting closer, whatever, you know, it gives you more of an option to, like, okay, well, let me feel out this a little bit. What can I get over here?
Right.
You know, and obviously it's tough for, like, if you're already in the UFC, you know, it's great. But when you're out in the UFC, it's like, you know, where do you go for these guys coming up who aren't getting signed by the UFC, are still great fighters and doing great things? Like, they need organizations to go show themselves, and it doesn't take them away from the UFC. You know, it gives them somewhere to build up until these organizations get to where they can really compete and be at the level of the UFC. I mean, we need these, like, secondary high promotions, and then, you know, obviously then there's the local scenes and, you know, the smaller promotions that are doing their best too. And they have their own, you know, reasoning for them being existent and stuff like that too. So, you're totally right.
It's like, it's so crazy. It's like, the UFC can only be so big, you dummy. Like, they can, they're already at their maximum capacity for fighters.
I mean, we've seen roster cuts.
That's right. You've seen division cuts. Like, they can't, right? They can't support flyweight. Flyweight's going to be gone anytime you flip a coin. I'm sure Dana White every day. I'm sure Dana White wakes up every day, flips a coin, and goes, "Will the flyweight division continue?" Oh yeah, okay, right. Like, it's so close to being gone, man, because
they're looking for people to bring in to keep it interesting. Not the same guys fighting over and over and over again.
Yeah. So. And then you see what happens when you bring in, like, other champions. They just get whooped, right? So, like, you know, but there's levels to it. You need to grow. And then, that's what the person said too. They said, you just need UFC, and UFC just needs to pay them more. UFC's not going to pay more if there's no competition. And if I say to this fighter, hey, I'm going to give you 20,000, and they go, well, no, I'm going to take 20, you know, to get 25 over here. That's how money works. If UFC knows that they're the only show in town, they're just going to go, I'll give you 5,000, or you can go nowhere. Like, that's how that's going to work. They're not going to give you more money.
But even still, like, them saying, like, okay, so they pay the UFC fighters more. Okay, what about all the fighters who are coming up? What about all the fighters who aren't signed by the UFC?
Yes, exactly.
You know, like, where are they going to go?
Yeah. Like, if they don't, and then think about the quality of UFC in 20 years down the line, when fighters are like, so I have to be the top 1%, or I go work at Walmart. Like, why would you then strive for it? Like, I feel like the quality would get worse, because at some point people go like, I'm not going to shoot for that crazy goal and have no other option.
I did.
Really? But if you had no other option, like, I don't know, man. That's like, I'd be like, hey, maybe you should try football or something. Like, something with maybe more options.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do play the lotto every week, so I don't know. Maybe I am like, I guess.
I play when it hits like high million billions, then I'll get a ticket.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, Bam. That is it for this podcast, man. Thank you so much, dude. And yeah, that was great, man. Taylor, Killer B Starling, man. Go watch BKFC Knucklemania 5.
Yeah,
that's incredible, man.
Great guest. Excited to have her on.
Yeah,
excited for her fight.
Yeah.
Going to be another great performance, I'm sure of it. And
right.
hopefully after this, she gets that title fight again.
That's right, man. It's gonna be crazy. All right, so this is it. If you're listening on audio, that's the end of the show. If you're listening on, or if you're watching on video, I'm gonna put up a couple of clips of some of our more favorite interviews. Maybe I'll do the Ashley Whiplash Steiner one, and maybe my last Killer B one. In case you love Killer B so much and you want to see more of her, I'll give you a second interview with her.
Boom, perfect,
buddy. Have a good one, my friend. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.